Welcome to our third Lunch and Learn session in this year's Teacher-Bordered Classroom Series from the Educational Service Center of Northeast Ohio. I'm Stephanie DeMichael, and I've spent 24 years developing new ways to do old things, and the last 7 years supporting teachers as they shouldered that task too. All of today's information will be available via a Wakelet board that I've created, and that will be included in the comments below. But if you have a camera, if you have your phone handy, you can go ahead and quickly snap a picture now of my socials and of the Wakelet board. I should also take this opportunity to mention that I offer free virtual coaching sessions and office hours, so use that Linktree link to get in touch after today. Let's get started. We've triumphed through 19 months of uncertainty. We've been challenged and frustrated at times, but that's what learning is supposed to do, challenge us and make us better. And so, in addition to supporting teachers, I've also been researching the questions: what worked, what didn't, and most importantly, what did we learn to do better moving forward? Here's what I have advocated: embracing blended learning. I've actually recorded a previous session on this, and you can find it on my YouTube channel under my Lunch and Learn playlists. But one of the aspects of blended learning that is most popular is the idea of differentiation. Ironically, however, there is a lot of confusion as to how to go about differentiating instruction. We're still not quite getting it. Differentiation means tailoring instruction to meet individual needs. The goal is the same, but the approach is different to meet the very different needs of our students, whether they are emerging readers or English language learners or gifted or special needs. We are all individuals, and differentiation acknowledges and celebrates that. So differentiation means tailoring instruction to meet those individual needs. And it can be very daunting to be one teacher trying to meet the needs of 30 different students in a classroom. However, we keep the learning goal the same, but the approach is different to meet the very different needs of our students. Technology exists to allow us now to make that so much easier. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. Lecturing to students guarantees one thing: that we will reach one type of student and one type of student only. Students have multiple options for taking in information, making sense of ideas, and expressing what they learn. This is from Carol Ann Tomlinson, an educator who has done innovative and extensive work in this area. If we offer choices, we greatly increase our chances of reaching all of our learners and not just some of them. Okay, I'm a huge Friends fan, just put it out there. However, there are times, and actually, I mean a lot of times, that we have no idea how to really differentiate instruction. It's like a giant black hole, and we find it very challenging to effectively meet the needs of our very diverse learners with their vast variety of skills, abilities, language proficiencies, learning preferences, and interests. Here's the good news: there are 3 simple ways to implement differentiation. Yay! I promise you that I'm here to help you easily navigate a workable plan for your classroom. So let's do this. Okay, firstly, you can differentiate the content. Instead of the one-size-fits-all approach to teaching and learning, one where the teacher stands at the front of the room, doing the whole class direct instruction, we can try to change up ways students engage with the content. So let's put the lecturing aside and think about what this would look like. So for example, let's say we're discussing a passage in Romeo and Juliet. That's the content. Now, through your LMS, or through a playlist or through a choice board, offer students the option to interact with a passage in Romeo and Juliet via the text itself, via an audio recording for those students who are audio learners, or via video for visual learners. In fact, I highly recommend to the teachers I coach the use of short video recordings to explain content. Khan Academy, Edpuzzle, Screencastify, YouTube. Not only is video highly engaging, it allows students to pause, rewatch, add captioning. It's a perfect tool to address skills and learning preferences. Next, we should differentiate the process or how students make sense of the content. Instead of a fill in the blank, worksheets or asking for a show of hands, copying notes from the slides, we should offer a range of activities for interaction, including, but not limited to, and here are some ideas: graphic organizers, small group discussions, video reflection and Flipgrid, writing or sketchnoting. I mean, think of our current practices. We introduce the content, and we tell students to go ahead and read and answer some questions on a worksheet, or just, let me see a hand if you're getting it. But let's differentiate the way students work with making sense of what has just been presented to them. Reflections, writing, sketchnoting, like I've said, small group discussions, Flipgrid, all great ways to differentiate the process. Finally, let's differentiate the product or how students show what they know. So instead of end of unit multiple choice tests, consider allowing choice boards with many different options. Students love to create according to their specific talents and skill sets, and we should celebrate and frankly allow that. For example, allow students to create videos, songs, posters, podcasts, quizzes, puzzles, and other options to demonstrate their learning. As long as the standard is met, it shouldn't matter what the journey looks like to get there. We are actually going to address choice boards in a future Lunch and Learn, I think in about 2 weeks, so stay tuned. So my best advice, this is a lot because you're probably looking at this and going, I have to do all, yeah, it's a list of 3, but that's still my whole lesson. So here's my best advice. Differentiate your classroom one step at a time. Pick one, content, process, or product. And then once you're comfortable with that one thing, move on to the next. And then, of course, once you've mastered that, introduce the final one or the third one. And then you'll have discovered that you've gotten very comfortable creating a differentiated classroom for your students. Just one little thing at a time. And if you want to do it in one class at a time, that's fine too. Don't overburden yourself. You just one little baby step at a time. Can't eat the watermelon whole. Now, Dr. Catlin Tucker, a best-selling author, international trader, keynote speaker, and who has written a series of best-selling books on blended learning, suggests some other small adjustments as presented here that you can make to your classroom. These are modifications that embrace the needs of all learners. You will notice that these suggestions are little tiny inclusions, but they have massive payoffs, huge payoffs. So even like that idea of a tiered project, I remember, just quick story, when I was a high school English teacher, I had a student with Asperger's and he couldn't write an essay, but he would do these elaborate games. And so I asked him to come up with a game instead for the Romeo, instead of writing a paper. And he was engaged and it worked towards him. And that's an example of a tiered project. And then once I started doing that, I started thinking about the other kids. And again, not having everyone try to create one final project that looks the same for everybody. So to summarize, it's time to let go. We can create teacher boarded classrooms only if we give up our fear that learning won't happen unless we control it. If we learned anything in the last 19 months, it's that we have zero control. So let's extend that to our teaching as well. Allow students to explore, to offer them choice, let them be a very present part of their own learning. The sky will not fall on the heads of our little free-range hens, I promise. And because this is a Lunch and Learn, I like to share out lunch ideas for teachers that are healthy and easy. I love that this is excuse me, that my followers love this part, and I've been getting feedback on it. So yeah, it's a Lunch and Learn, and I'm Italian. I like food, so it's always going to be about food somehow. But this week, in keeping with the differentiation metaphor, I provided in the Wakelet board a link to mixing and matching your salads. It's a way to differentiate your salad game with mixing and matching your favorite ingredients. And finally, again, if you need anything, the first link connects you with all my socials. So feel free to reach out at any time. The second one connects you to my Wakelet board with links to the things that we discussed today, and that is below. I'm Stephanie DeMichael. It has been an absolute pleasure to be here with you for this week's Lunch and Learn. Good luck with your teacher-boarded classroom, and I will see you next time.